ways for Kiripi to deal with his favorite topic, cities in transformation, mutating cities. So a part of Mutation is on show here at KVS and another part at BOZAR, so you have to really visit both venues. I'm also very happy to welcome here tonight Simon NJAMI, art critic, curator and artistic director of many fantastic exhibitions like the Luanda Triennale and Africa Remix, to name just a few, and of course co-founder of Revue Noire. So Simon will say some introductory words about Kiripi's work, and then maybe Kiripi wants to, peut-être qu'il veut dire quelque chose aussi, c'est à lui de décider. But now the floor to Simon. I don't know which language he will pick, but we will find out soon.
Good night, bonsoir. I really enjoy Belgium. J'aime beaucoup la Belgique. It's the only country, and it shows that maybe Belgium is a bit more intelligent than France, for instance. Even if the problem you had with your government proved the contrary, but at least it's the only country where you have to speak English to please everyone. So it shows a kind of an openness. Good to notice. So I'm supposed to say a few words about this guy's work that is on display, and this is really nice. It's raining outside, but you can stay there and look at them, and you have a super view because he's pretending to be a kind of god because he's shooting his images from above. And if you look at them, you would be above him, because you're even higher. So, needless to say that I kind of like Kiripi's work. Yeah. I don't like his titles. I think that Mutation is just a lousy title. I mean, you mute from what to what? Are we mutants, etc.? I mean, the guy is a photographer, it's a mutation. Anyway, and there's this other thing he says, because I think that he, and maybe it makes sense to have him here at the KVS, because he's pretending that those images, I don't know if you've seen them, but I hope you will have a look by the window. I think that's the link with the KVS, because he's pretending that those images are moments of urban installation or urban performances. So maybe that's why he convinced Jan to have him here. He knew that he had to add performance because it would make sense in a theatre. Je traduirai pour toi. No, but what is interesting in those images, beside the mutation thing, is the movement. And is the position that the photographer takes. Yeah. It's not forced to say yeah or no. I mean, please. Now those South Africans, they can't be here. That's the problem. I think they didn't finish the Truth and Reconciliation process. They're still working on it. And it's going to be a tough job. You know? So to go back to Kiripi, if I may. Okay, if I may. Is that, well, Kiripi is trying to depict not only his city, or the city he's living in, because he's not a native from Kinshasa, he's coming from the bush in Goma. You've probably heard of Goma in the news. Crazy places, and Kiripi decided to capture what he called a urban performance. Yeah. But the problem is that there's no performance without a gaze, because what he's depicting is daily life scenes. So unless he would admit that whenever we're doing something, we're performing, which means that my housekeeper, who's performing her housekeeping, could be called a performer and then could have a stage at the KVS. That's the easiness of youth now, performance, urban performance. Actually, it's not urban performance, it's daily life. And what he meant, I suppose, in this wrong statement, is that he wanted to depict the way his people, and not necessarily his people because he did something in Belgium or in Holland, Ostend, Belgium. Yeah. So not only in his city, but the way people deal with the city and the way people evolve and the way they dance. Because we're all dancing a dance. If you get off a metro, a subway, you will see how people are dancing at 6 o'clock. That's why I hate subways. But there's something that maybe tells about the reason why he is shooting people from above. Is that Kiripi does not admit, or maybe he wants us to address that issue. He doesn't want to admit that it's part of the performance or of the scenery. Because by looking from above, it's like stepping out of the picture. And in fact, by doing that, we see him in the picture. So it's a kind of a self-portraiture. We see him everywhere in those images because he would not frame them the same way if we wouldn't have been inside. But then the reason why he is able to go outside is probably, and maybe that's what makes the difference between myself and the photographer, is that being inside, he was able to see the image. You know, there's an expression that you might have heard of, it's to take a picture. When I was a kid, I was like, well, what does that mean? What, does it mean to steal something? And then I grow older, and I was like, maybe if they say to take a picture, it means that the picture is there to be taken. And some of us don't see the picture, we just see the daily life, we just see the daily hustles. And some of us see the image. And then Kiripi, in order to tell us that he would see himself evolving inside the city, would step aside. Of course, I was kidding when I was pretending that he thought he was God, because only God can see from above. Or maybe this guy, Neil Young, when he was on the moon, could see from above. But Kiripi didn't pretend to be God, of course, even if deep inside, he's pretending. And that's where we get into the theater of representation. I think that life is just a huge theater. But then, there's always a lie in every image. Because every image, when it's not photoshopped, and you're not photoshopping your images.
Not Photoshop.
Okay, so any image, when it's not photoshopped, pretend to be reality. You have stage photography, etc., etc. I'm not going to go into the different type of photography you may have, but my opinion is that any photography, any image is staged and is directed. And that's where he can call it performances, because he shoots according to his own gaze. This is what we call the point of view. And it is the point of view that is making the image. All of a sudden, the people that you're seeing there, doing whatever they have to do, when they're captured by him, have another meaning. So all of a sudden, he's adding a meaning to something that was not meaningless, but that had another meaning, just through his gaze. And by doing that, he's instrumentalizing the people he's depicting. So, I don't want to be too long because I'm starting to get thirsty, and I would like the photographer to say a few words and to agree or disagree with me. That's why I choose to speak in English because he doesn't understand at all, so I cannot completely disagree. So I guess what he meant by mutation was something very basic, something, I'm sure he would agree with me, something very Nietzschean. I'm sure you're all aware of the eternal return of the same. And when we think we're mutating, we're just moving. So maybe next time he'll call it movement. And knowing that anytime he takes a picture, he's moving himself. Which means that whatever he wanted to tell us, when the picture is done and frozen, becomes something different. And of course, it's up to us to read whatever we can read. I'm sure there's something tonight that everybody here will recognize. It's the umbrellas.
Qui m'ont donné ces différentes images. Et quand j'ai présenté mes photos dans le rue, je préférais m'éclipser et avoir des gens qui tenaient mes photos sous forme d'installation et voir comment ces mêmes publics qui m'ont donné ces œuvres peuvent réagir par rapport à mes photos. Et pour moi, je pense que c'était important qu'il y ait cette appropriation de gens qui observent mes photos et qui essayent de les interpréter un peu à leur manière, sans pouvoir à ce que je dis que je suis l'auteur, pour un peu enseigner à tout le monde que bon voilà, c'est ce que je veux, c'est ce que je pense, et croyez en ça, parce que c'est mes photos. Et depuis plusieurs années, j'ai travaillé comme ça, et je suis aussi ouvert à d'autres propositions dans des organisations comme KVS, Institut français. Et pour moi, c'est un moment aussi extraordinaire de me retrouver ici.
Qu'est-ce que tu entends par tu es ouvert à d'autres propositions?
Merci mon général. Voilà. Et pour moi, c'est bien de pouvoir, pour moi, mon travail respire et vit avec le public et mes créations. Et toute interprétation à mon travail. Une photo, c'est comme un livre, c'est comme un spectacle de théâtre aussi. Et je pense vous êtes libre de pouvoir vraiment interpréter comme vous le pensiez mon travail. Et merci encore, parce que de toute façon, je préfère parler de moi et vous laisser vous parler et entrer en interaction avec mon travail. Merci beaucoup et bonne soirée.